All right, guys, I just wanted to share two A+ textbook setups with you guys because they were just too nice, too beautiful, and too textbook, which is why I want to share them with you. Okay, so first of all, we had Euro JPY. The daily chart shows us a beautiful head and shoulders pattern, which looked like this: shoulder, head, and shoulder. Once we had the second shoulder, we actually had a break of this neckline, and then we retested this area of interest, which is what makes me look for potential sell setups. Okay, so we had this break of this neckline of this area of interest, and then we had a retest. So from that area, we can potentially look for sells. Once we've established the higher time frame pattern, we can go to the lower time frames. And if we actually pay attention to the 15-minute time frame, or actually the 30-minute time frame, the 15 or the 5-minute time frame, we can basically look for harmonic patterns. The usual textbook setup that we're actually looking for with our trades, which is we want to see an accumulation phase. So we want liquidity build up, and then we want this liquidity to be taken. So we want to see a liquidity sweep, and then we want to see a harmonic correction, a pattern or correction that comes back to the order block. Okay, this is textbook A+ smart money setup. Okay, smart money / harmonics. So we've seen here, I did not take this trade, even though this trade was technically perfect. I did not take it because, as you guys know, I'm waiting for an H4 engulfing pattern. Our first strategy that we teach, which is the reversal sniper strategy. So I'm waiting for an engulfing with golds, which is why I did not take any other trade. Okay, what we see here is price coming back to this zone, basically retesting this area and then building up. Liquidity is built up here. So we have a small accumulation phase over here, which means that liquidity is being built up at the top and at the bottom of this accumulation phase. Okay, then what we saw was in the 15 minutes, or I can actually go to the 15-minute time frame is perfect. In the 15-minute time frame, you can actually see the buy to sell candle over here. This is the order block. Okay, so this is this white bullish candle, this very last candle is the smart money candle, the order block. Okay, it's basically the buy to sell candle. So institutions, they bought here, swept the liquidity in order to sell. Okay, the second thing that I'm waiting for, once liquidity is being swept, I want to see a harmonic pattern back into the 0.5 level of this order block, which is exactly what happened. Okay, we take our tool. This is the main impulse. This was the very first correction. Then we had a second correction, the second step of the correction. So this is the first step, and this is the second step of the correction. You could also draw it like this. You could draw this like this as well, but it's basically just the same thing. And then price actually wicked into this zone, this order block. And then what we could have done is just enter here, stop loss over a few pips over the order block. And then this would have been my first take profit. My second target would have been the low over here. And this already is a very satisfying risk to reward for me. So I'm not going to target the Fibonacci extension of 0.27 because we already have a 10-to-1 risk to reward. So I'm just going to enter here and close all of my positions here at the second, actually the first, but you could call it second target level. So this was a perfect trade. I want you guys to just go on the chart and study it. That's very important. Then we had a similar setup with Bitcoin. You guys can see when we pay attention to the charts, we can see that we have an interesting zone here over here. Yeah, we have several wicks, several candles wicking into the zone here. So this was a very strong supply and demand zone. We can see that price retested this area and then came back, retested again, came back, retested it, and then reacted, and then broke, and then retested again, reaction, retest, reaction, break, retest, reaction. All right, and then finally broke again, and then we had several reactions from the same zone. So we can look for sell setups here. As long as we are under this zone, we can look for a sell setup. As long as we're on top of the zone, we're above it, we can look for a buy setup. Okay, so I'm looking for the exact same thing here. I want to see the exact same confluence of confirmations. Okay, I want to see an accumulation phase over here. So what we see here first is price actually came back to the zone, retested the zone, and then reacted. As you guys can see, we have a double top here. So every time we have a double top, we know liquidity is basically sitting at this area. So we don't want to sell yet, okay? As long as we've seen, so this could have been a wonderful, a perfectly valid harmonic pattern, okay? This would have been a perfectly valid harmonic pattern. The problem is that this price actually retested this order block over here too deep, and as a consequence created this double top. So what I'm going to do, even if I'm in this trade, let's say I've jumped into the trade over here based on the harmonic pattern, actually I wouldn't enter this trade. Why? Because the liquidity over here was not swept, okay? And then we can see exactly what happened. The liquidity here that was built up here was swept, okay? And then my setup is ready to go. I want to see these three confirmations. Accumulation, which is what we had here, accumulation. I want to see liquidity sweep, and then our infamous harmonic pattern back into this order block. And as you guys can see, we actually came back exactly into the 0.5 level of this order block. And even this trade would have given us a perfect 10, at least 10 to 1, if not 13 to 1, if not actually, I think 50 to 1, something like that, risk to reward. Because why? Because we could have even targeted the next zones according to the higher time frame. So if you just jump back to the higher time frame, what we could have done is just we could have targeted these levels, right? But realistically, I'm going to get out of the trade when I'm in deep profit like this, okay? So these were the two setups that caught my attention this week. I hope this has educational value to you guys, and see you in the next one.